Welcome back. The White House announcing changes to the U.S. visa waiver program, trying to stem the flow of extremists, obviously, into the country. Some House lawmakers say the measure does not go far enough. Joining us right now is House Majority Leader Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Congressman, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, I mean, this is obviously front and center, what's most important to the American people right now. Tell us what you think of the White House moves and what needs to be done.
Well, it's good, some of the moves they have made, because these are some of the recommendations that we made in our report even just a couple months ago, and some of the bills that have been moving through the House. Now, I chair a counterterrorism homeland security task force that we put all the chairmen from the appropriate committees in. And we're looking at the visa waiver program. Because remember, these are 38 countries, a lot of them European. And if there are passport holders in those countries, they can come to America with no personal interview and just stay here for 90 days. But you have more than 5,000 Western passport holders that have gone to Iraq and Syria and have fought, and we haven't been tracing them. So there's a lot of gaps and vulnerabilities. We want to look at the passports, make sure that everybody has biometrics. We want to make sure if somebody has traveled to Iraq or Syria in the last 5 years, they're not coming through without some personal interview in the process. Make sure we take away those vulnerabilities, because to me, this is really one of the strongest threats currently that we have to the homeland.
Which is why you've got everybody sort of weighing in, the heads of House Foreign Affairs, Armed Services, Appropriations, Judiciary, Homeland Security, Intelligence Committees. But I mean, this seems obvious, right? I mean, how do you do it? How do you track them most effectively? Is this a biometric technology within their passports, or what? How specifically are you tracing it?
There's certain things that you can do. First, of course, you want every country, if they have the privilege of being in this program, they need biometrics in their passports. We have the chips in ours today. Secondly, you want to make sure everybody's interlinking, especially within Europe, with Interpol, if somebody has lost or had their passport stolen. Because what's happening, people just go online to be able to come through. If that's not reported, people don't know. Then the most important thing, you've got to track the movement of where these people are going. When you look at the mastermind in Paris, the thing that he bragged about was the ability to move so freely throughout Europe. Well, they have the ability with the waiver program to come to America. So we've got to look at this movement if they're going to Iraq or Syria or being trained.
And
these are Western passport holders. Yes.
This visa waiver program, it was enacted in 1986, brings almost 20 million people to the United States every year. We needed another terrorist attack to get, to scrutinize this program even closely.
Well, you know what? We had already been working on this. Candace Miller had passed a bill out of committee on this. We're looking at especially what has happened with Paris 2. Are there some additions that we need to make? We had a meeting yesterday with the task force. I think you'll see tomorrow the unveiling of a bill. And just as our refugee bill, even it went to the floor with the president, didn't approve of it, it had more than 2/3 support, very bipartisan, because the American people want to see the protection of their homeland. You'll see this bill move through in a very strong bipartisan vote next week.
And Congressman, a minute ago you said, look, it enables folks to move throughout Europe. We now expect that the mastermind behind the Paris attacks is back in Syria, meaning he was in Paris and he was able to just move throughout and leave, get back to Brussels, apparently, and back to Syria.
Exactly. And France is a part of this program. Belgium is a part of this program. We've got to make sure that there are a lot of gaps and vulnerabilities that we clear up and protect. And if the president disagrees, I think he'll still see this bill on his desk.
What's the answer to defeating ISIS, Congressman? Is Congress going to get more aggressive when it comes to fighting ISIS? Will we see any declaration of war? Everyone's talking about that we're at war with ISIS, and yet, are we stepping it up enough?
Well, you know what? In Congress, we have passed many times to send to the president that we don't want to contain ISIS, we want to destroy ISIS. And you look at the chairman of Joint Chiefs, just yesterday in a hearing says we have not contained them. We had sent with the president inside our defense bill, we want to see a strategy for defeating them. Now, the president has all the authority to fight them, but when he brought back to us the authorization, it would actually tie our hands greater to fight them. And that's not where this Congress wants to go. We want to make sure that we protect America, but also defeat ISIS.
I mean,
I think we need a clear strategy.
Is it a fair statement at this point, Congressman, that, ISIS has infiltrated the Syrian refugee program?
Oh, I think for sure. And one thing that you found when we did our refugee bill, and remember, we're the largest humanitarian country in the world, and we want to continue to be that. But when you look at what's going on in Iraq and Syria, all we did is add the FBI to the verification before somebody comes. And that's an important element. Why? Because, you know, the FBI director isn't appointed politically. He's in a 10-year term. But the intelligence that they are able to get inside the FBI, but also if someone's coming from Syria and you can't get the data or intelligence from them, why would you bring them in? Then you can go to the whole argument, is that really the best thing to do with these refugees? Why wouldn't you create a safe zone so they can stay with their family, stay within the region, so when that country comes back together, they can be there? Well, that's a better use of money.
Well, at the end of the day, though, you need President Obama's buy-in, right? I mean, when you say the use of money, let's talk about allocating capital, because this is going to be a big fight. What will this mean in terms of practical spending? For example, the defense budget, $600 billion. How's that money going to be allocated? And are you expecting that it's going to be cut?
No, if you watch, we just did a budget agreement, and now we're coming to next week where we'll have our budget bill, the Omni. We've actually increased defense spending because it's gone on a cut, and we now have the smallest Navy we've ever had, the smallest Air Force from the creation. We're going back to World War II numbers or World War I numbers in the size of our Navy and Army, and that's not protecting us when we're looking around the world.
Right.
So we want to make smart investments. We also are going to have to reform the process, and I think Mac Thornberry, the chairman of Armed Services, has done a tremendous job when he actually was forward-looking on how to deal with this. What we do need is a commander-in-chief that believes he's got to create a strategy to defeat them. And I think if you look at some of these actions by the president, calling him a JV team, right, saying Yemen is the example, those are false and those are failed processes. So we need to change that direction.
Do you agree with the president's plan now? Ash Carter yesterday announcing that we're going to have more special operations teams in Iraq?
I think that's a start, but the first thing I would say, what is the clear strategy overall to defeat them? And I don't think you're going to do it just by air. I think you do need some ground to be able to target and pinpoint, but we also need a coalition, but we need a strategy that we win, they lose, and no other options.
Real quick, Congressman, what do you think about this new Quinnipiac poll? Donald Trump still on top. Establishment continues to get crushed.
Well, the one thing is you want to look at the attributes. The American public are looking for somebody from an entrepreneur, somebody who is strong, somebody who will change Washington. You may read that, but Trump's been in the lead for a while. Right. What I really read in the poll is the movement of Marco Rubio. That is a big movement up, and I think you're going to see Rubio and Cruz moving up stronger, and come January, I think we're going to be talking about different leaders inside the Republican Party going for president.
Congressman, always a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon. Congressman McCarthy,